My name is Arba Kumsin, and I will be your host for the next half hour on Election Brief on your election headquarters. Our lead stories: 5 persons injured after alleged bodyguards of MPP parliamentary candidate for Ejumako Enyan Esiam constituency stormed the registration center there and destroyed properties. We have details. Also, Electoral Commission fights off claims its officials in the Ketu South constituency are registering electorates for the Ghana card instead of the voter's ID. Meanwhile, the MPP and NDC have disagreed on how voter registration exercises turned out as the EC wraps up. And also, flag bearer hopeful of the People's National Convention, Samson Awengobit, warns executives and supporters who were found to be misappropriating party funds to desist from it, or else he will cause for the arrest and prosecution.
As they go and give to the less privileged, people sat down and shared to their pocket, to themselves. That's PNC. When they got to Kumasi, they went to the Goma line, where the less privileged are. They gave to them. That is how we said the party. I didn't give it to you to go and cook for your wife and your children. No.
We are live on your DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144, and on your digital television because we're free to air. Stay tuned. Thanks again for your company. Now, JoyNews is learning that 5 people have been injured after alleged bodyguards of the MPP's parliamentary candidate for Ejumako Enyan Esiam constituency, Dr. Rashid Kwesi Ituafo, stormed the registration center at Ejumako Bisiase and destroyed properties. Media reports suggest the parliamentary candidate picked up information that foreigners were being registered after they were supposedly bussed by the opposition NDC to some registration centers. The alleged bodyguards stormed the registration center, we are told. They ransacked the materials, pulled down canopies and vandalized some cars parked around. Richard Kojonyako is our central regional correspondent, and he joins us with more. So, Richard, what have you picked up? Do we know exactly what sparked the violence?
Sparked the violence is what you just stated, that the MPP parliamentary candidate for the area picked up signals that they were busing some people to the registration center, one of the registration centers at the Ejumako. And so out of the blue, there were attacks that vandalized the property and all of that. But in all of this, no arrest has been made. We are currently at the regional police headquarters. We are waiting for the district police commander, who is currently at the regional police headquarters. But in the last hour, the NDC has been organizing a press conference at the Ejumako, and they have been accusing the transport minister, Kweku Ofori Esiama, of leading 50 thugs believed to be members of the MPP's vigilante group, Invisible Forces, to cause mayhem at 21 registration centers in the Ejumako Bisiase, which is the hometown and stronghold of the incumbent MP, Honorable KC Latofos. And Mr. Kweku Ofori Esiama, they allege, led yesterday's attacks and has been holding series of sinister meetings in this constituency. And anytime he is in the constituency, violence erupts against innocent citizens perceived to be NDC sympathizers. The leader of his gang, they mentioned that there is this person who is called Ali, who has been driving one unregistered pickup and has been firing several gunshots in the constituency. And so the NDC, in a bit, they are demanding the immediate investigations, arrest, and prosecution of all involved in this act, and to remind the security forces of the oath they have taken to protect persons and property in this particular country. And so that is what the NDC has been holding the press conference for.
Let's come back to the Ejumako Bisiasu issue where there was some electoral violence. Now, we're seeing pictures on our screen of some people with some blood oozing from their body. Tell us, were there casualties? Did anybody die? What happened?
No one has died. The 5 people, we are told, are receiving treatment at the Ejumako Government Hospital as of now. And so no one has died, but 5 persons were affected and they are currently at the hospital receiving treatment.
All right, many thanks. That's our Central Regional Correspondent, Richard Kojonyako there. The MPP parliamentary candidate, Dr. Rashid Ituafo, joins us via Zoom. Thank you for your time, sir. Now, first of all, tell us why your bodyguards stormed that registration center.
I want to say good afternoon to your viewers. It is not factual that any bodyguard of the New Patriotic Party has vandalized any center with some reasons that the NDC alleges that we heard that they were busing people to the various centers, so we had to go and vandalize the center. I want to give you a little history. When we as a party realized that the NDC was doing that illegal act, we used two options. The first option was to lodge a complaint with the police about 2 weeks ago. Indeed, the police has accosted some 34 people who are undergoing trial. And then we used a challenge form. In actual fact, the Electoral Commissioner came up with data saying that Central Region has recorded the highest number of challenge cases. If you go into that data, you realize that it is a Jumako and Kaswa which has challenged the most. In this phase, where the MP claims that we are beating up people, in this phase, we have challenged over 136 people. So why wouldn't we use the same process to stop people from registering than to vandalize?
Dr. Rashid, let's come back to the meat of the matter. What happened at this registration center?
I'm building a point. Then I'll come back to that side. Again, I did hear that they said we have vandalized some 21 polling stations, and I led the team, and then I'm told the transport minister led it. It is not true. Yesterday, this is what happened. So as we are concerned, and you can verify from the district police officer, commander, or the district health director to ascertain whether it is true or not, and the district electoral commissioner. Yesterday, at the polling center called CACA Kropon, our polling agent challenged someone he perceived not to be legally, or someone he perceived not to have a legal right to register. He used the challenge process. So in using the challenge process, the NDC's agents bounced on him, attacked him personally, and that didn't even stop him from challenging the process. Now I'm taken aback that after that had been resolved, the NDC now comes out to say that we had attacked their people, and this was at the Jumako District Hospital receiving treatment. This morning, I have been to the Jumako District Hospital, and the acting district health director tells me that she has not received any patient that has been attacked through electoral violence. These pictures they are circulating are internet-based pictures. You can always verify from the internet. If in actual fact they claim we have vandalized properties, the electoral commissioner, or they claim the electoral commission says you have vandalized electoral materials, why hasn't complaints been filed with the police? None of the sort. In actual fact, today I have visited every one of the polling stations, and registration is ongoing. So we are taken aback that the NDC will come back to say that we are going around vandalizing 21 polling stations, and Dr. Rashid is leading the team in one vein, and another breath, the transport minister is leading another team vandalizing polling stations. What do we stand to lose? Or what do we stand to gain by vandalizing those polling stations? Nothing. And I would beg that you verify from the district electoral commissioner if any material has been vandalized by the New Patriotic Party since the registration exercise began. In actual fact, the electoral commissioner has lodged a complaint with the police, and the complaint we are aware of is that the Zongo Caucus wing of the NDC attacked one of his registration officers, and that is with the police. We have lodged 14 complaints with the police of various assaults. So I'm surprised that the NDC is saying this. If indeed we have attacked, they should go and report to the police. I have not seen any of this polling.
All right. Many thanks for your time. That's the MPP parliamentary candidate for the Jumako constituency, and in the Jumako BCRC where that incident allegedly took place. As you heard, there are claims and counterclaims of what actually happened there. We will be getting to the ground to give you exactly what happened in our subsequent bulletins. Now, let's move on, because the opposition NDC's campaign team and the governing MPP are disagreeing on how the voter registration have panned out so far. We've been speaking to the NDC's Alex Sebefia, as well as the MPP MP Andrew Ejapa Mesa. Here's what they had to say.
And because if everybody was abiding by the law, we wouldn't be having the issues that we're having. So what it is that we as political actors can do to ensure that the law works, we've got to not bust people there in the first place. Because if we don't, just like I'm sure, I don't know whether you registered, but I have. I worked from my house to the registration center, filled the form. I mean, the electoral officer went through the process of filling the form, asked me questions, took my ID, verified, and then gave me the forms, moved to the next stage, completed the process, incident-free.
Was he
and
able
that
to
has been the case.
your address, your residence? Was he able to do that, to verify that you are from that area?
Well, unfortunately, they don't have what it takes. And I had cause to even express my reservation about some people who had come to certain registration centers indicating that they are from that way.
We can now hear from the NDC's Alex Sebefia on this matter as well.
In the Banda situation, it was more because if you look, the idea of the polling station is that you will do this one today, you will do this one tomorrow. If somebody lives across water and the time for his polling station is, the nearest polling station is this point, is he supposed to walk from the bank of the river to the spot?
Well, the idea was to phase it so that they will have an opportunity at a particular time
to go
to the nearest, the one that is
exactly, but they still had to cross the river. This is why I'm saying that the Banda situation should be looked at very closely. And I even made the statement on a different platform to my that look, the agreement that was signed by the parties, one aspect of it for me was slightly unfortunate, because if they took the view that there would be no busing whatsoever, when you knew full well that there wasn't a polling station on the bank of the river where they could walk to, and people are going to come across, depending on where the best place to land your canoes are, you will still have to move from that place to the registration center.
Well, the Electoral Commission is convinced the process has been smooth so far, but it has, however, tasked the 16-member committee to protect the integrity of the register. Jean Mensah is chairperson for the commission.
As we all know, we are in the final stages of the exercise, which will end tomorrow, Thursday, the 6th of August, 2020. It has been a long road. However, it is now time to turn our attention to ensuring a clean and credible voters register ahead of the 2020 general election. The time is ripe to set in motion mechanisms to ensure that the voters register is credible and that it reflects eligible Ghanaians only. The Commission is of the firm conviction that a clean register is synonymous with a credible, transparent, fair, and peaceful election. The Commission is of the view that the voters' register is the bedrock on which a credible election is built. It is therefore important that the new voters' register bears the hallmark of integrity. As such, as a Commission, we are sparing no effort to clean the register so as to guarantee its credibility ahead of the 2020 election.
As you heard the EC chairperson say that today is the last day for registering. Have you registered? Well, we hit the streets to find out how the exercise is faring. We start off from Accra, where Nancy Emefa Jadosi has been touring some registration centers.
So we are currently at the Kizito school here at Nima, and behind me are 3 different registration centers. When we got here, basically there's actually nobody, no applicant is here to register. So the place is virtually empty with only electoral officers seated in their seats patiently waiting. I earlier engaged some of the electoral officers who told me that today has been generally slow and this week entirely has been very, very slow. They tell me that today only 2 people have registered at each center. So in total, 5 people, they tell me 221, and so 5 people in total have registered at the Kizito Center. But I want to engage the electoral officer for center number 3 to find out from her basically how things have been going. She'll be able to tell us and give us a different perspective from what we already know. So please come closer to me. Thank you. Okay. So I see that there is actually nobody here. What is going on? Oh,
Majority of the people have registered. We've been to 5 phases, so this is actually the last phase. So majority of the people have already registered. They've crossed over to go and register in other centers.
We've been here. This is the hotspot of Nima when it comes to elections. This past 6 days, how many people have your center at least registered?
We have 107.
107, that's not encouraging.
It's not at all, but it's still accountable for, because the other areas have recorded the higher numbers, which means that it will still tally. Anyway, yes.
And today, how many?
Today, 3.
Today, 3. Are you expecting more?
No, we are not at all.
What was the highest you've recorded in a day and the lowest here?
The highest, we started with 30, then 31, then 10, 10, and then 3.
Now, Rafiq Salam is our Upper West regional correspondent, and he joins us via Zoom now. Rafiq, what's the mood at the centers that you visited? Is there a mad rush, considering that today is the last day, or it's virtually quiet, like Nancy reported?
It's same as Nancy MFA is reporting in the one municipality of the Upper West region. I have visited about 5 of the reception centers, and I can report to you that not many people are there. And 4 stations that I have visited, they have not reached up to about 40 people. And so the atmosphere here is very calm.
All right. Many thanks. Rafiq Salam is our Upper West regional correspondent. To the Volta region now, where correspondent Ivy Setoji joins us. Ivy, which areas have you visited, and what can you report in terms of how the exercise is coming along?
So in Keta South, Keta North, Keta and Nangoga district, the exercise for the last day has been very slow. People are not coming out to register. Obviously, most people have already done their registration, so it's been slow. In Keta South, one gentleman was challenged of his originality. Like they told him that he was not a Ghanaian, even though he said he was living in a woman. But that issue was also resolved. So for today, the exercise has been very, very slow, with less people at the various registration centers, but that's not as well.
All right, many thanks. Ivy Setoji is our Volta regional correspondent. Now, the Electoral Commission is fighting off claims that its officials in the Ketu South constituency are registering electorates for the Ghana card instead of the voter's ID card. The NDC's parliamentary candidate for the area, Ablajifa Gomashi, made the allegation in a 33-second video posted on her Facebook page. Watch.
So, remember last night I told you something was amiss? I'm standing at Viepa, where I have a polling station. Somehow, the registration for the voter card is not going on. What is going on now is Ghana card registration, so that it will slow down the registration process. I told you last night, my intuition has never failed me. This is a grand agenda to reduce the votes in Ketu South.
Now, the EC, in responding to the allegations, asked Ghanaians and residents of Ketu South to disregard the allegations. This was contained in a statement signed by the Acting Director of Public Affairs, Sylvia Ano, and it says the attention of the Electoral Commission has been drawn to a video recording by an aspiring parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress in the Ketu South constituency of the Volta region. In the said video, the MP aspirant, Ms. Jifa Gomashi, makes the claim that the voter registration exercise in Viepe has been discontinued to make way for registration of the Ghana card. Madam Jifa Gomashi further insinuates that this is a grand agenda to reduce votes in Ketu South. The Commission finds the statement by the aspiring Member of Parliament unfortunate. Not only is her statement untrue, but it also has the tendency of causing unnecessary tensions and disaffection for the Commission and its staff. For the record, the voter registration exercise in VFA is taking place at the RC Primary School, whereas the National Identification Authority mop-up exercise is taking place at the Roman Catholic Church, which is more than 100 meters away. The commission urges the good people of Ghana to disregard the contents of the said video as the allegations are baseless and unfounded. Now let's stay on this issue because the National Identification Authority has also been responding to this matter. The authority says it's not strange to find NIA and EC officials in the same registration location, adding they're not violating the law. It says the exercise is in line with the schedule for its mop-up registration exercise in the area. Head of Corporate Affairs for the NIA, Francis Baumdetti, says the law governing NIA's operations allows polling stations set up by the EC to be used by the NIA. Moving on, the Ashanti Regional Security Council says its post-voter registration strategies will focus on security breaches during the exercise and steps to rectify them. Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah says it will be crucial in ensuring peaceful elections in December. He points out decisions taken at the meeting will strictly be implemented. Nana Yaojima joined the council members on a visit to some centers, and he's come through with this report.
A case of a national security operative pulling a gun at a registration center perhaps is the most serious security breach in the region. Controversy over the sighting of some centers and allegations of busing of non-residents into Asawase in particular created tension. Though the RECSEC has condemned and intervened to resolve some of the challenges, others remain under police investigation. Mr. Osei-Mensah gives some details.
The reaction of the person who says he's from national security wasn't right. When he found that he should have reported to the security detail at the registration center, and they would have taken the action. So it was just unfortunate, but it means that all of us should be careful. Under any circumstance, let's not take the law into our own hands. Let's use the law, and when we use the law very well, I don't think we have such challenges.
Nonetheless, RECSEC rates the conduct of the exercise largely successful. Mr. Osei-Mensah says a review of security arrangements is critical to deal with anticipated issues during the campaign period.
So we go and review after the review of the various directives and the security situation at the various registration centers. During the local government election, local government level elections, we came out with some security directives. We did the same thing when the National Democratic Congress, they were having their primaries. And we did similar thing when the New Patriotic Party was also having its primaries. And we've done the same thing this time. And all of them, the directives that we gave were adhered to, and the directives did work. So we repeat them, and where we need to make some changes, we make those changes when we get to the discussion stage at the Regional Security Council level. And then we come out with whatever improvement we need. But so far, so good.
Nana Yaojima reporting.
You're still here on your election headquarters. Let's move to the Upper West region because flag bearer hopeful of the People's National Convention, Samson Asaki Awingobit, has warned executives and supporters of the party who are fond of misappropriating party funds to desist from that or be caused to be arrested and prosecuted. He said what the party needs are people who will render service to it with honesty and not persons who are there because of their personal interests. Samson Asaki made the statement when he met executives and supporters of the PNC at WA. Rafiq Salam has more.
Addressing constituency and regional executives and some supporters of the party, flag bearer hopeful Samson Asaki Awingobit warned party executives who have the pension of misappropriating party funds to put a little rate or will cause for their arrest and prosecution.
If they send you to go and raise funds in the name of PNC and not that in the name of Samson Asaki, who's a president candidate, that I'm going to raise funds to support my campaign. But if the party sat down and constitute you as a committee, and you go and we hear you receive money in the name of PNC, and you packet it or use it for your personal political interest, we shall call for your arrest and prosecute you. That is the man I am.
Citing the recent partial lockdown in the country, where the party doled out some food items and money to the less privileged, Mr. Samson Asaki said most of the items and monies were diverted by some executives of the party for their personal use.
There was COVID-19, but you heard it. The partial lockdown. I donated in Ashama. You saw it in the news, right? I donated in Kumasi. You saw it in the news, right? I donated in Accra. But when they got to Accra, when I said go and give to the less privileged, people sat down and shared to their pocket, to themselves. That's PNC. When they got to Kumasi, they went to the Gomalai, where the less privileged are. They gave to them. That is how we said the party. I didn't give it to you to go and cook for your wife and your children. No.
He said he won't countenance that as a leader and will serve the party with honesty.
To tell you that I'm posh, I'm ready, I've laced my boots, and that is why I'm cautioning. That is why I'm appealing that if you take a leadership position, please be prepared to work. Because I'm not going to sleep. You.
And that's a wrap for Election Brief for today. Remember, you can catch us every weekday at 1:30 on your election headquarters here on the Joy News channel. I'm Arbor Kumson. Sports Today is up next.